All right, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Doc and Caveman's NBA Draft Profiles. You are here with Dr. Fantasy, and as always, my co-host, the Fantasy Caveman. Today, we are going to be discussing Ben Mathurin, 6'6 sophomore, 210 pounds from Arizona, was the Pac-12 Player of the Year last season, averaged 17.7 points, 5.6 rebounds, shot 45% from the field, and 37% from three-point land. Caveman, what are your initial thoughts on Mathurin?
All right. The first thing that jumps off, first of all, the first thing that stings to me is, uh, my main 2K player last year was a 3-level scorer. That was his build, and I might like that. That's this guy right here. This guy is my 2K player from last year. Uh, basically, like he's a premier 3-level scorer. I mean, you talk about being able to score at all 3 levels, whether it's 3-point mid range at the at the basket. He can do it all at all the levels. For you mentioned 40%. He as a freshman he shot 40% on only 4.5 attempts. So, I think I mean, yeah, his 3-point, but it's there. 37, like you said, finished last season at 37%. That's fine. Uh, I love his mechanics as well. It's very smooth. One of the best forms in this draft class. So he has that going for him. And we just talked about a guy in our last one with Abaji with the oops. Again, this is another guy. I love his finishing on the alley oops. I mean, it's just that excitement factor that you don't like, but that's okay. You don't
Boo.
have to like excitement. That's okay. And then and then before I kick it over to you, he is an excellent off-ball player. That's such a valuable skill to have at the NBA level because almost every team has the guy that's going to handle the ball 95% of the time. Everybody has that primary point guard that is going to have the ball. So being able to be off the ball and just being able to be in position and be able to be there when the point guard's looking for you, I think that's something that the skill that he has and he's gonna have from day one.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot to like. He definitely has a lot to like. I agree. I like his mechanics on his three-point shooting. I think that's definitely a big strength. You can't deny his athleticism. He's got a lot of speed and transition. I think that's where he really thrives. And I guess I'll talk about a little bit, and it'll transition into weaknesses too. Because you mentioned being great off the ball, which I think is another strength. He's got great speed and transition. I see that being the kind of top skill set along with three-point shooting right now in his offensive game. But I'm not as confident in his three-level scoring right now. I think he has the potential to do that, but I don't think that he's
Okay.
a finished product in any stretch of the imagination. Um, because I don't want to say struggled, but he was inconsistent, I guess, getting to the basket. And he
Okay.
showed
Yeah.
flashes of being able to do it. And he doesn't have the greatest handle, which is one of the reasons I think that he wasn't consistently getting to the basket. But he has the
Yeah.
athleticism to do it. Same thing with his form. He's shown the ability to pull up and make a mid-range shot, but it was inconsistent still. And that's why I think people like him more than a guy, because when I look at him versus Abaji, I mean they have a lot of the same skill set in my mind, but I think Mathurin has a little more upside because he showed flashes of like, okay, this guy can score at all levels, but a lot of it to me is just inconsistency, and that's what I had. Even defensively, he's not a bad defender, he's not a good defender right now. He shows flashes of both. It's just being more consistent. And I think it's going to be important for him to go into a strong system with a strong coaching staff. I'm not saying he has the upside of like Kuminga from last year, but I said the same thing. I said Kuminga will be a star if he goes to Golden State. And it's the same concept for me with Mathurin. I think he needs to go to the right place in the right system and really be allowed to develop into a star level player if they want him to, if that's his upside. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing I had down for him, other than his defensive consistency, is I think you pointed how you don't think he's the greatest 3-level scorer, and I get that. I think it comes down to he has all the tools. I think sometimes he struggles to utilize those tools to his advantage. I think you think he like I said, he's 6'6" with a 6'9" wingspan. He has a good frame. He has all the ability to get to the spots that he needs to get to and to make the shot. You saw his jumper is good. It's one of the best in this class. So if he's able to better utilize his ability that we've seen and to get to his spots more, that's gonna open up a whole. That's just gonna catapult him to. He's one of those guys. I honestly think he has. I don't know about superstar potential because I only think there's probably like 3 or 4 guys out of this draft class that actually have like true superstar potential. But I think he has the ability to be right below that. If he fully realizes the his abilities that he has.
okay. What do you have for ideal fit? Keep it rolling into that.
Ideal fits. I think you mentioned. I do think he has to go to a good system. So I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people wanting him to go to the Knicks, and I was like, oh God, no, no,
You'll never hear from him again.
no. This will be Kevin. It'll be like Kevin Knox all over again.
Oh God.
If he goes to the Knicks. But me and you were talking about it before we started. I think the Spurs is a really nice fit. You talk about needing that coach, the coaching that'll help him realize his abilities and what. I mean, it doesn't get much better from a coaching perspective than Greg Popovich. I mean that kind of that's enough said there. And then I like it. I want him to go to a team where he won't be like relied upon as much day one. So I like a team like the Thunder as well.
Ah,
I
there it
think
is.
the Thunder at 12. I think that's a realistic spot for him. I don't. Yeah, I'm not looking at the other teams. Like, I can see him going anywhere outside probably the top 5. I could see him going as high. I mean, I don't. So you're looking at the teams. Uh, a team like, yeah, like the Wizards as well is kind of another interesting, interesting fit, interesting fit for me. But yeah, just not the Knicks because I see so many people having this guy go to the Knicks, and that is not something I want for him because I like the guy and I don't want him to fail like Kevin Knoxville.
I mean, that's fair. I've seen him go to the Pacers at 6 a few times, which is kind of interesting. I'll say as a Spurs fan, I don't mind if he goes at 9. I think with that number 9 pick, I mean, they have 3 first-round picks. I'd be aggressive in trying to trade up personally and trying to crack that top 4 or 5 somehow. But yeah, especially, I mean, you have a team like I don't know, Sacramento or Houston who might be willing to trade down. So I would be intrigued by that. But yeah, I think he has enough star potential, and that's what they need to be targeting at number 9. They can fill in and find some quality role players later in the first round. That's the direction that they want to go in. So I think the Spurs are a decent fit. And yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys where there's lots of teams that can use an athletic 3-point shooter. I mean, with a lot of potential. That's kind of the reality. So I had Portland and the Pelicans, who I think he could slot in and get some minutes right off the bat, but at the same time not be relied upon. I mean, maybe with Portland he would be relied upon a little bit, but I think with the Pelicans he could at least develop a little bit. So yeah, he's interesting and he's hard for me to target one and you mentioned the Thunder, who you couldn't throw anybody there, but I think that's a tough thing with him and guys like Abaji is I feel like they could fit in anywhere right away and at least have some level of success. I feel like he needs a little more development and time to really refine his game. So we'll see where he lands. Let's go to NBA comparisons. I struggled with this, so you can go first.
A little bit. I did too. The only really solid one that I came up with is Jordan Poole, who is currently playing in these NBA finals. Yeah, I think I believe a little bit more in his 3-level scoring ability, which I think, you look at Jordan Poole, similar type of player. Like, I really love this comparison. Jordan Poole, not as consistent on the defensive end, not the greatest at creating for others, but he's just exciting. He's just an exciting player to watch. The scoring ability, we've really seen how Jordan Poole has really started to come along as he's been given an opportunity. But it took Jordan Poole a minute. It's like I think it's gonna take Mathurin a minute, but I really see him being like a Jordan Poole player. That's the name I had down.
Okay, yeah, I don't think that's bad. The only one that I saw floating around, which is an old school name, was Jason Richardson, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't think that's a bad one, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't have a great one because I mean we mentioned some of the great 3-and-D players with Abaji. I mean I don't know. I feel like he just has more upside than that, and I feel like it's not doing him justice to put him in like a Desmond Bain kind of category. So
if he turns out to be what Jordan Poole is this year, I think that's pretty solid for him.
Yeah, Jordan Poole, he was okay this year. So okay. Any last thoughts on him? I think what do you think is the one thing that'll stop him from being a star?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think that maybe that's something we need to be asking with every single one of these. If we just point it down to one thing. I mean, if I had to, I honestly think it's his inability to create the shot creation. I think that's kind of he's never. I mean, as a guard, he doesn't have that much ability to create for others. So I think that's kind of, that's gonna that might limit him a bit in not being able to be put into that secondary playmaker role if a team would need him to. I think that's gonna, if he had any playmaking upside, I think we're easily talking about a top 5 player in this draft class if he had any play. So I think that's kind of the lack of playmaking upside is really what's going to hold him back from being a top tier player.
Yeah, I think I kind of mentioned it already, but I think a lot of it comes down to consistency and really, yeah, I mean, shot creation, I think, is a part of his being more consistent offensively. He's a great 3-point shooter. If he gets pinpoint into just being kind of a catch and shoot off the ball player, then that's going to cap some of his upside. But if he can consistently create his own shot, get to the basket, pull up, then he's going to be a guy that has star level potential.
Mhm.
So I think that's it for Mathurin. We have lots more to come over the next few
Lots.
weeks. So make sure you guys tune in, and we will see you then.
Yep.